This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Trash is not just a problem on land. It's a major threat to our ocean's health. Wherever you are, trash can travel. It washes into storm drains. Out to streams and waterways, and ends up in the ocean. Some trash items take up to 600 years to decompose. During Ocean Conservancy's cleanup, around 600,000 people picked up over 9 million pounds of trash. Reduce your impact by choosing reusable items. Recycling. Spreading the word about how you're rethinking your impact.
Evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Philippines Uncut. On this show, we talk about everything under the sun. And tonight, we're going to talk about the International Coastal Cleanup 2016, an event that happens all around the world, an initiative to help clear our environment, clear our waterways of trash and garbage. And we also have a lot of activity here in the Philippines being held by ICC, or International Coastal Cleanup Philippines. And joining us to talk about this event is the Secretary General of ICC, Olongapo, which is one of the most active ICC chapters in the country. And here with me is David Bayarong of ICC Olongapo. Dave, welcome to Philippines Uncut.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me here.
No, thanks for coming here. And, it's a pleasure really to talk about this advocacy, because here in Philippines Uncut, this is really one of our core advocacies. We really want to champion environmental awareness and environment protection. And it happens, as the video showed, it happens with how we ourselves treat the environment with our waste, with our refuse and all that. No? Now, before we jump into the topic of ICC Philippines and this exciting activity that's happening on September 17, the third Saturday of September, let's talk about you, Dave. Tell us a bit about your background. I understand you have a very interesting life story.
I have a very interesting life story, but again, I'm the Secretary General for the International Coastal Cleanup Olongapo City, dubbed as Making Revert Possible.
Making what? I'm sorry?
Making Revert Possible.
Nice.
2.0 plastic. That is our advocacy this year because of the zero plastic policy that we've done in Olongapo City. Well, I am also working for the local government unit of Olongapo City, where I am the officer in charge of the City Sports and Youth Development office of the city. So there you go. I'm also a licensed football coach of the Asian Football Confederation.
Very good, very good. Okay, let's talk about what led you to this advocacy. I mean, and you are a licensed football coach. You spent some years overseas, I understand, and then you've been working with the local government unit or the city hall of Olongapo. What led you to this advocacy of environment and coastal cleanup?
If you've noticed, Olongapo City, Subic Bay, and Zambales is a very coastal area, and partly in Olongapo City, the city has been damaged throughout the years with regards to floods. Not just flood. It's more of kind of up to the roof floods that some of our constituent there in Olongapo City has been has been having for the past couple of years. Back in 2013, we had the most damaging flood that we've ever had in Olongapo City, and where all of our 17 barangays was under flood.
Wow.
And
Okay.
and looking at it, it's mostly because of the garbage that we have, not just because of the weather, because the weather is very uncontrollable.
Yes.
The thing that we have to control is the waterways, the areas of the
Keeping them
passages,
clear, keeping them free
clear,
of,
free of
blocks
debris,
and debris.
garbage, so that all of the waters that is coming from the mountains, going to the streams, can go can go into the ocean and freely go into the ocean, so that there would be no flood.
Yeah.
So back then there was a lot of trash, and while working inside Subic Bay, after this ravishing waters from the river
Yeah.
goes out on the ocean,
Yeah.
after a few days you would see all this coastline in the Subic Bay and Olongapo City being covered by trash.
Wow.
Literally, you would see like trash covered. You see, before those
Yeah.
trash, you would see sand all over the place.
Yeah.
You see beautiful sand.
Yeah.
After those kinds of typhoons and things like that, those sand will be covered by garbage.
No, absolutely. It really is a major problem. There have been stories of sailers and people, yachtsmen, and people who do sailing for a hobby, and they tell stories of going out in the ocean and just seeing, as far as I can see, just floating garbage, like
yeah.
plastic and all that, all of this stuff that takes hundreds of years to degrade, right? And so, yeah, it really is a serious problem. And this is something that unfortunately, a country like ours, we have 100 million plus people, and we are an archipelago, we are an island country, and it's really something that we face all over the country, this problem
yes.
of trash and how and the damage it's doing to our waters and our coast. Now, let's talk about ICC, the International Coastal Cleanup. It's a movement. It's an international movement. Tell us a bit about how this started and why.
The ICC under the Ocean Conservancy started back in the early 90s. This was started by a lady back in San Francisco, where she was walking in the coastline on the beaches of San Francisco, and then back then there was not a lot of plastic. It's in early 90s, where you see she still saw some of the plastics that are being washed up in the shores of the beaches.
Yeah.
While walking, she was picking up some of the plastic and encouraged some of her friends to join in, and then pile up a group of people at the shoreline, and then ask them, we should clean this. That's how it started. And then from there, they made up a lot of this advocacy from the Ocean Conservancy, and they also named it as the International Coastal Cleanup. And the International Coastal Cleanup is being done all over the world, also here in the Philippines, every third Saturday of September.
Yes.
So this year, it will fall on September 17th.
Now, how did ICC begin in the Philippines? Give us a little background about its origins here.
ICC in the Philippines was started by Mr. Jerry Reyes, who is the Commodore of PCGA, Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary. They've back then, early 2000, they were focused in Manila and also in Batangas.
Yeah.
And then that's the time when there was also a presidential proclamation in the mid-2000 by back then President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo as making the third Saturday of September as the ICC Philippines.
Oh, really? So it's really an officially recognized event by the government.
In the Philippines, yeah.
Yeah, and former President Arroyo, we all know, was a lover of the ocean. I mean, she was a surfer, she a diver, and all that. So she really was one of our chief executives who really had who valued really our
Yes.
seas and our marine resources. No.
Yes.
So now it was proclaimed the International Coastal Cleanup Day, every third Saturday of September.
Yeah,
Very
in the
interesting.
Philippines.
Very,
that is.
how big is ICC in the Philippines? How many chapters are there?
There are a lot of chapters, and there are a lot of also LGUs and provinces that volunteers for the International Coastal Cleanup. Some of the biggest are in Batangas, here in Manila, in Palawan, and also in Zambales, Olongapo, and Subic Bay.
How did this start in your area?
In
Olongapo
our
and
area,
Subic,
well, back then we were at the Lighthouse Marina Resort. Actually, the one that started this here in our area is Mr. Cedric Avicilia, who is now handling the marketing and the
Of
ICC
Lighthouse,
Philippines.
yes. But
Of,
he's with Lighthouse
he's with
Resort Marina.
Lighthouse. He's the director for the Lighthouse Legacy Foundation, who
Okay.
is also a big supporter of the ICC. So back in 2008, regularly seeing that the coastline of Subic Bay and Olongapo City is being filled with trash. Every time there's a typhoon, every time there's a rush of water coming from the inner city, you would see the coastline really literally covered with trash. So back in 2008, we've grouped up some of the staff of the hotel, and then about 30 to 50 manpower, and then we started cleaning the ocean.
Yeah.
We started cleaning the seashore.
Yes.
And we did that in part of the International Coastal Cleanup. And then the year after that, we planned something so that it would be a much bigger event.
Okay.
We did not envision this kind of number of
Okay,
volunteers.
let's talk about it. Okay, so you started with about 30 or 40 people who were essentially employees of the Lighthouse
We dragged them
Resort.
out of the
You dragged them
hotel.
out. So Zed said, hey guys, we got an activity, you guys better participate.
Yeah.
So they went willingly, gladly,
Yeah.
and so they participated. And how big is ICC Olongapo / Subic today?
Now it's just in Olongapo City we have over 26,000 volunteers
Wow,
in one
that's
day.
amazing, man.
In one day.
That's
and
amazing.
in the whole of Zambales we have 90,000 volunteers.
Wow.
That includes Olongapo City, Subic Bay, and the whole of Zambales province. So the Zambales chapter, Olongapo, Subic Bay, and the whole of Zambales is #1 in the Philippines, and the Philippines is #1 in the world with regards to the volunteers.
Really?
Yes.
That is amazing.
The
And it
Philippines
all
is very,
started
very
in your
active.
area, from the 30 people that you
From the
guys
30
put
people,
together.
yeah.
And today, what is it, 8 years after? 8
years
years after,
Yeah.
26,000 in your area alone.
Alone
Get-
in Olongapo City alone.
How did you do it? How did you make
Well-
it? How did you make it germinate? How did you viral it?
well, the thing is, it's more of letting people know about the problems that we have, and making sure that they understand it. How does trash affect their life in their everyday life?
But who are these volunteers? These are a mix of school kids,
Yes.
adults.
NGOs, these are private companies that are not just supporting, sponsoring the event, but also having all of their staff, all of their people come in and really support. And we have big companies in SBMA, Olongapo City, and the whole of Zambales that is.
Who are the
supporting us.
major companies supporting this? Let's name them. I mean,
Yeah.
it's good to hear who are the corporates. You should really encourage your corporates to get involved in this because it's part of their corporate social responsibility. And let's face it, movements like this depend on funding, on support from our partners in business. And it's good to know that they're business with a heart, right? So who are some of the partners?
Well, the biggest partner that we have first is our local government unit, which is Olongapo City, headed by our mayor, Mayor Roland C. Paulino, and also SBMA as a big support for this one. They've been supporting this one from
Subic Bay
probably
Metropolitan Authority.
Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority, and also the IYFR, or the International Yachting Fellowship of Rotarian, the Philippine Fleet. And we have the PCGA as well, or the Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary. And locally, we have Ayala Harbor Point, and we have SM City Olongapo that has been really supporting this for the longest time.
Yes, how interesting, how interesting. Now, let's talk about quickly, what are the amounts? I mean, like during the cleanups, it's happened since September, every third Saturday of September.
Yeah.
And, what happens during these events? I mean, you have your volunteers come and they have their areas that they're
Yeah.
in charge of, and they cleanup, when you do cleanup, coastal cleanup, what does it mean? Does it mean just picking up trash from the shore and depositing it somewhere?
Yeah, because the international coastal cleanup or the day itself is totally different from the regular thing that you do in your barangay, in your school, in those different cleanups that you do, no? Because most of the time what we do in the regular cleanup, we pick up the trash, we put it on a sack or we put it on a plastic bag, put it on the bin, and then the garbage truck collects it and put it on the dump site.
So if all these people during ICC, 3rd Saturday of September, and that really they just scour the beach,
Yeah,
and the nearby waters for trash.
Imagine the numbers that we have, the 26,000 volunteers that we have just in Olongapo City.
Wow.
But this is being scattered in all of our barangays. For example, the smallest barangay would have one site where they have all of these drainage canals going up to the river. That's where they focused on. But some of the bigger barangays that we have either 2 or 3 sites that they have, so that they can accommodate all of these school children, all of this civic group, all of these NGOs that would like to really participate in this cleanup. And mentioning the process of doing the cleanup, the ICC has a different process. We do data gathering when we do the cleanup in International Coastal Cleanup Day. If a volunteer comes to us, they register. As soon as they register, we give them what we call a data card. Okay, a data card is that's where they put all of the datas that they will be getting from whatever trash they get. No, so they pick up the trash, they bring it back to the registration area. We have a weighing scale at all of our registration area. So they weigh the trash. If it's, for example, 10 kilos of trash, and then they put it back on the ground, separate all of the trash that they've had, and put it in groups. For example, these are plastic food wrapper. These are plastic straw. These are PET bottles. These are glass. These are cigarette butts. And then they count each and every one tediously. All of our volunteers, they end up in a group. For example, 5 to 10.
With the objective of studying really what kind of trash is being thrown in the ocean. We have a video now. Before we pause for our break for our first segment, we have a video. And I think it's a video of an initiative that was carried out a few years ago of ICC. And so, guys, I hope you enjoy this video. Give you an idea about what Dave and Zed are doing in Olongapo.
God is good, and just by us coming together, we also prove that there's still goodness left in this world. So we give back to Mother Nature. To see you all here means that you believe with us that we can make a sea of change, a sea of difference. And there is indeed faith, love, and hope in this place.
Be an agent of change. So one thing I would like you to take home from today is that you focus on making your life trash free.